And you, music lover, you're next. Piano player. Look, you're so drunk you can't hit nothing. In fact, you're probably seeing double. I have 2 guns, 1 for each of you. Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Tombstone. This movie's directed by George P. Cosmatos, and the movie stars Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, and Sam Elliott, with Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, and Powers Booth. Tombstone is the movie of Wyatt Earp, played by Kurt Russell, who arrives in the town of Tombstone along with his brothers Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton. And there they meet up with Doc Holliday, and all they're trying to do is start a new life, settle down. They used to be U.S. Marshals, and so they want to put the past and the law behind them. When this gang that's run by Michael Biehn and Powers Booth starts trouble and rubs them the wrong way, well, let's just say Wyatt Earp may have to come out of retirement once again. And what we get is an action-packed Western. What is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said? If you've never heard of this movie or seen Tombstone, you must be living under a rock. If you were to ask anyone to name their favorite Westerns of all time, there's a good chance that Tombstone's going to be in their top 10, if not their top 5. The movie is that good. Let me start with the acting. Kurt Russell is great as the lead Wyatt Earp. He plays the type of character that's calm and caring most of the time, but he has a reputation. People know about him. People know the things that he's done and what he's capable of. And those that don't, well, they poke the bear and they find out. He's like John Wick, where people heard about him, they kind of teased him. They don't know the hell he can unleash until it's too late. And that's one thing I really like about this character, is he's this loving man. He's taking care of his brothers. He wants to leave him being a marshal behind him in the good old days. He wants to move on. And yet, this gang in this town just can't stop messing with him, and they find out the hard way. And Kurt Russell is perfect for this role, just like he was in Bone Tomahawk, because to me, he sounds like John Wayne reincarnated. He does the thing with his voice. I don't want any of this. He does that. And he's really good at it, because when he's caring and compassionate, you feel with him. And then when he's angry and sad and upset, you can't wait to see what he does. Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday. He's the best part of this movie. The companionship between him and Wyatt Earp is a lot like Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Their brotherhood is so strong. You have the serious, down-to-business Wyatt Earp, but then you have the charismatic, kind of carefree, Doc Holliday. Val Kilmer gives, to me, the best performance of his career in this movie. Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton as Wyatt Earp's brothers, they're also really good in this movie. You have the seriousness that is Sam Elliott, where you don't want to mess with him, and then you have Sweet Morgan, played by Bill Paxton, who's also kind of the innocent one of the group. He hasn't experienced, bloodshed and the same things that his older brothers have. And when he does, you feel for him. And that's one thing I really like about this film, is that, yes, it has serious and dramatic moments, but it's entertaining. It's like, I would compare this and the Wyatt Earp movie that came out in 1994 with Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid and a whole bunch of other actors, and this to The Departed and Black Mass. They both tell the same story, but to me, The Departed and Tombstone are more entertaining. They're faster paced. They're not as slow and as serious as the other movie. And I don't want to forget the villains in this movie too, because just as the heroes, they're also important. You have Powers Booth as the leader of this group. I don't remember what the group's name is. I think it's like Red Circle, Red Hood, something like that. And, he's the leader. He's the one in charge. He's just as despicable as the rest of them. This was the first movie that I ever discovered Powers Booth in. And ever since then, a lot of the movies, coincidentally, he's played a bad guy. So he's always been a villain in my eyes. Michael Biehn is the co-leader of the group. He's the quick draw. He's the henchman. He's the fast, the evil one. he knows his stuff, and he's also a force to be reckoned with. He's like the bad version of Doc Holliday, as you'll see in the movie. Michael Biehn is really good in this movie. I always forget he's in this, not because his performance is bad, but because I always relate him to other stuff like Terminator or The Rock or Aliens. Stephen Lang is also in this movie, and it just shows you how good of an actor he is. You watch Avatar or Don't Breathe or any one of the serious Stephen Lang roles, and then you come back and watch this, and it's totally different, but it's good. He plays Ike Clanton. He's the type of character that just never learns his lesson and just doesn't know when to stop. His men will be circling Wyatt Earp, and he'll be like, "Hey, law dog, told you not to come here again. You do it, we're going to kill you." But as soon as the gun is in his face, he's like, I'm sorry. He ain't bluffing." Total scaredy cat. Again, and the rest of the cast, oh my gosh. Aside from Coneheads and another movie that I had earlier that I've totally forgotten about, this movie has one of the biggest casts ever. Not only do you have Robert Mitchum as the narrator, Charlton Heston in a small scene, but you also have Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Jason Priestley, Billy Zane, Terry O'Quinn, Billy Bob Thornton, Thomas Hayden Church, Stephen Lang. Every time I watch this movie, I discover somebody else in this film. Like, I just watched it. John Corbett's in this. Like, this movie has an incredible cast. Oh, Michael Rooker is also in this movie. So, this cast is just splendid. The only small gripes I have with this movie is that they have this subplot involving Jason Priestley and Billy Zane. It doesn't really go anywhere, so it doesn't need to really be in the movie. Also, there's an editing choice that's kind of odd where Wyatt Earp is talking to people, and then it cuts to him in the woods on a horse, and they're trying to put in this subplot of like a relationship between him and this singer or performer, which it's just a little odd, but other than that, this movie is really good. The music's unforgettable. It has one of the best character walking scenes on the cover of the movie ever, next to Reservoir Dogs. This movie just epitomizes cool and what it is to be a badass. The story also does something interesting, where it starts off with bad guys to establish how heinous and vicious they are. And like most movies, you'll have your main character go up against, this tough henchman, and then the big bad guy, or the boss, or the person in charge. This movie kind of flips it. You have, spoilers, you have the boss, the leader, taken care of first, and then you have the actual threat, the henchman that's fast, go up against the main character. So I like that. It was neat. Fun fact, Kurt Russell actually directed a good bit of this movie. So it wasn't just George P. Cosmatos, it was Kurt Russell. So he was able to work with the actors, give them input, also take in feedback, and he performed really well, and he directed, so I gotta give him credit for that. So because Tombstone has unforgettable cast, great one-liners, including the one I did at the beginning of my skit here, you're a daisy if you do, like so many good others, I'm gonna give Tombstone an A+. If you're a fan of Westerns or Kurt Russell, and especially Val Kilmer, I'd recommend this movie. So until next time, guys, see ya.